So I feel like this week's film is the entire reason why I don't generally cover new up-and-coming, just-released horror movies, and why I would rather search for hidden gems. Because this whole review can be summed up with one expression that captivates my emotions exactly, which is, that was a movie.
It's a Friday once again.
Hello, my fellow freaks, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you have all had a great Halloween weekend, and also a good week after Halloween. Now we must immediately go into Christmas. But no, we're not doing that on this channel though. However, we are actually covering a brand new horror movie that is currently in theaters this week. I don't think I have done a new horror movie since The Monkey came out, and I think that was maybe in February or March, I want to say. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I really feel like this week's video is the reason why I don't like to keep it current. I don't like to cover new stuff, why I would rather just deep dive on Tubi and find some hidden gems. Because not all of it, okay? But there is a lot of modern new horror that is just disappointing. Like, just disappointing and unoriginal and just like meh, and maybe sometimes a little bit forgettable. And so, can I just say, that's how I already felt about this movie just from the teasers and the trailers. But you know what? I don't know why, but something in me, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I haven't done a new one in a long time. And so I asked you guys on Instagram if you would like to see me review this film for the channel. And I got quite a few responses saying yes, so I was just like, all right, let's review a newly released picture. And unfortunately, I did not go see Begonia. That I would have much rather gone to go see Begonia. But of course, I had to pick the most obscure thing that is currently out, which is Shelby Oaks from 2025 and directed by Chris Stuckmann. I think actually the very first time I heard about this film was through news articles. If you don't know this, if you are new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ. But I'm from West Virginia, and the abandoned amusement park that is in the film Shelby Oaks is a real abandoned amusement park. It is the Lake Shawnee amusement park in West Virginia. Where in West Virginia is it? I've never been to it because I think it's only open to the public one night or a few nights a year. Any other time it is private property, is closed, and you have to schedule to go onto the property. But that's how I first learned about this. Oh my god. My cat just zoomed by me with a paper bag stuck around his neck. So I don't remember what I was talking about. I had to go help my cat. I think I was talking about, okay, the first time I heard the words Shelby Oaks, it was in news articles because I live in West Virginia, and of course we are like the forgotten state, and everyone just thinks that we are the western part of Virginia. So the fact that a Hollywood movie was being filmed in West Virginia, like every news station was covering it, that they were filming at the abandoned amusement park in Mercer County. The next time I heard about it was through TikTok ads, and you know what? That's just a discussion that we'll get into in a little bit when I share my thoughts. I just wanted to share the fact that I am from West Virginia, and the amusement park in this is from West Virginia. And it's probably the best part of the movie, is that part of it is filmed in West Virginia. But this Chris Stuckmann guy, I have to admit, I have never heard his name before now. I looked at his channel. I don't think I've watched any of his videos, but apparently he's a big deal. And he has a lot of fans, and I will be going over the ARG. This, if you are not familiar, Shelby Oaks started as an ARG. I will be going over that and how the ARG and the film are related, how they're different, and also which one I think is better. But anyway, he seems to be a big movie reviewer here on YouTube. He started this as an ARG, and it got funding for a full-length, like, big motion picture. Really big deal, really cool backstory behind it. However, I'm obviously coming to this as from somebody who is not a fan of him, who's never heard of him before. And so take into perspective that as I'm doing this review, maybe I'm not the target audience. You know, I'm not coming at this from the perspective of a fan. I didn't even, I don't think I watched anything about the ARG when it was actually live. I'll get into it. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But this film is his directorial debut. And because this is a film that is still currently out in theaters, I'm not gonna have a whole lot of clips to show you guys. I will try to use what like supplemental clips that I can from trailers and teasers and maybe even the ARG itself to be able to throw in here throughout, but otherwise expect to see my beautiful, beautiful face the entire time. So I feel like that intro was just me rambling. I have a feeling this review is going to be me just rambling. Usually when I'm doing a new movie, it's just like a few pages of just like my thoughts. I can't watch it more than once, so I can't do any kind of really in-depth discussion, but I can give you my initial thoughts, and this is kind of what this is. Okay, let's get into it. But first, if you are new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ. If you hear any running or crashing or whatever in the background, those are my cats. And my movie reviews tend to be more of a discussion of things that I find to be good or bad about a film, rather than just giving you this big play-by-play of every single thing that happens. So in other words, I try to refrain from spoilers as much as possible, but they will arise as they pertain to the discussion that I'd like to have with the film. If you would like to watch Shelby Oaks before the rest of this review, it's in the movie theaters. You have to pay like $10 or $12 per ticket to go see it. Unless you're a pirate. If you're a pirate, smooth sailing. Otherwise, it's in the theaters right now, currently. I just want to get this over with. I just want to share my thoughts really quick. So let's just, Mia Brennan, and Mia's last name is like hyphenated, and I can't remember what the second hyphenation was. It's in theaters, I could only watch it once. So I'm just gonna call her by her maiden name. Mia Brennan is being interviewed for a documentary regarding her missing sister Riley Brennan, when a shocking event uncovers new information about Riley's possible whereabouts. Although it begins as a found footage mockumentary, Shelby Oaks quickly turns into a standard paranormal psychological thriller as the audience follows Mia's personal investigation in finding her sister. And you guessed it, yes, demons. It's demons. It's always demons. I won't lie that I do agree with the people who have been saying that this is like if Blair Witch and Hereditary had Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, I see those 3 films in this, but can I add one more for you that me and my father, I saw this with my father, by the way. Me and my father both saw this other film pretty prominently in it, which is Paranormal Activity. I feel like the very beginning of it, that's very found footage mockumentary, that's very Paranormal Activity. The paranormal investigating in and of itself, reminiscent of Paranormal Activity. The fact that it is a demon obsessed with a random pair of sisters. I mean, and there are some moments of these sisters, both in the ARG and in the movie, there are moments of these sisters talking about the demon that just, it feels like I'm watching Paranormal Activity again.
It's I mean, it's weird, it's crazy, but like I saw images of like the school and the prison and these numbers and
wait, after the fact or before?
No, like when I was 13.
And so I see like elements of other successful horror movies that are like squished together, combined to make this film. Like, beginning is very Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity. The middle is very Hereditary. The ending is literally Rosemary's Baby. And so because of that, unfortunately, I just felt like okay, this is gonna be my biggest gripe with the film. It has to do with the narrative. There's nothing new or unique or like different happening within this narrative that's making it stand out from other pictures in the genre. Rather, it just feels like this rehashing of several different narratives combined together. And after watching it, there's nothing in it that stands out to me to make it like different from anything else that I've ever seen. It feels very basic, it feels generic, it feels safe. And afterwards, like in the middle of the movie, after I was finished watching the movie, my emotions, how I felt about it was just, yep, that was a paranormal film where a person goes missing and the answer is demons. And how many films exist out there where that's the plot? Paranormal thriller, a person is missing, demons. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like really basic and bare bones. And like I said, it's not taking any risks. It's not standing out from the crowd. And because of that, I feel like over time, the film might become forgettable. Like there's no moments in this that feel memorable, that feel unique, that feel like, I don't know, specifically like crafted for this movie, specifically birthed from this movie. There's no single scene that I feel like I haven't seen in several other horror movies before. Like I said, I feel like this is going to be like my biggest criticism about it, is that the narrative is just, it's safe. It's not bad. It's not bad. I have seen, like, it's not Gutterballs, okay? It's not a bad movie. It's just like, doesn't stand out. It's maybe gonna be forgettable. Especially for me, it's going to be forgettable. There's nothing in this film that makes it stand out from the crowd. And what's kind of funny is that even though the narrative itself is very like, the narrative is simple, but then like the specifics of it, of certain characters and the roles that they play and the goals of the antagonist or the motives of the antagonist, I am extremely confused. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to have a section. I will have a spoiler talk section because I feel like I need to get what I'm understanding off my chest, and I feel like I need you guys to help me. I feel like I need other people's assistance on understanding what the hell is going on with like the specifics of stuff. But the specifics I can't talk about because it's kind of all spoilers. If you've seen Shelby Oaks, I have a spoiler section where I ramble about what I think the specifics of the narrative are trying to be. I feel like the more I think about it, the more questions I have than answers, and I want to get this over with. Okay, so there are some who might be here who are fans of Chris Stuckmann. As I said, I've never heard his name before. Ironically, I don't watch a whole lot of movie reviews on YouTube, mostly because a lot of movie reviews that I came across in the past, they do the whole like telling you the full play-by-play every single thing that happens, rather than telling you like, hey, is the movie good or bad in their opinion. So I don't actually watch a whole lot of movie reviewers on YouTube, and that's probably why I haven't heard of him before. The only time I watch a movie review is if I've already seen the film. So there may be fans of Chris Stuckmann. It's late at night when I'm recording this. I am so sorry. So there may be fans of Chris Stuckmann who are coming to this video who maybe might be thinking about one thing. This is just something that I'm gathering from skimming other people's reviews. Maybe some of you are wondering about the topic of jump scares in this film. I guess this is all important because back in his, I don't know, heyday, he still makes videos, not a heyday, but when he was criticizing films, I guess he doesn't like criticize bad movies anymore or anything, but back when he was like really criticizing and going in on bad movies, one of the main things that he would gripe about and was kind of harsh about were jump scares. So, does Shelby Oaks have jump scares? Yes. Yes, that like any other paranormal, like demon, scary movie, jump scares are the primary tactic of scare that it relies on, sort of, to attempt scaring the audience. Now, are any of the jump scares good? No, not really. They're pretty predictable. You know exactly when they're gonna happen. Here's my thing, okay? A few years ago, if you asked me my opinion on jump scares, I would probably have some harsh comments about jump scares. But as I have gotten older, as I have watched more things, and as I have experienced good jump scares, I've come to realize how jump scares are sort of just like this. It's almost like a necessary evil. And jump scares don't always have to be bad. The problem is majority of jump scares are bad. And so that's what makes people hate like jump scares so terribly. I mean, there are obviously some really great, iconic, and memorable jump scares that exist in horror movies. One of the very first ones that comes to mind for me is the lawnmower scene in Sinister. Sinister has been, maybe besides Green Inferno, Sinister has been like one of the only horror movies where I saw it in theaters and in the middle of watching it, I was like, I could leave. I am so freaked out and scared right now. I could leave and be fine and never see the rest of this movie. The lawnmower scene in Sinister, really good jump scare. Really like, oh my god, when I was in the theater watching the lawnmower scene, I jumped out of my skin. It was awful. I hated the lawnmower. Or another really iconic and memorable one that probably a lot of people are thinking about is the birthday party in Signs. Like, hello? The alien at the birthday party? Like, one of the most iconic, memorable, like, jump scares to ever exist. Or how about the... I love the Mulholland Drive jump scare. I think another good jump scare that exists within horror cinema is one that like maybe a lot of people don't think about a whole lot, but I do because, okay, if you want to ask me about my favorite slasher is Chucky. I love Chucky. Chucky has such a special little place in my heart. I love that freaky little doll. And in the first Child's Play movie, not the one with Luke Skywalker in it, the one from 1988, the moment when Chucky like officially reveals himself not only to the mom but to the audience as well, and that's not only the first time that you hear his voice, like his real voice, but it's the first time that you see his like articulated face, and it's the moment when she's like threatening to throw him in the fire and his head spins around and he probably calls her a bitch or something, I don't know.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
But like that, I don't think a lot of people think about that jump scare, but that's a pretty good jump scare too. So like, jump scares don't have to be bad. The problem is that majority of jump scares that exist are terrible. Jump scares are not always a sin, at least for me in a horror movie. There exists good jump scares. The problem is that majority of horror films use the jump scare as like a very cheap, poor tactic to get the audience. And they're also like usually poorly done. And I unfortunately think that Shelby Oaks joins that list of jump scares that are poorly done and cheap. None of the jump scares in this I would necessarily say are memorable. And as I said, the jump scares, they're basic, they're predictable. It's like loud noise and a guy is there, loud noise and a dog is there, loud noise and it's usually the dog is there, loud noise. However, there is one moment that I enjoyed where it built the tension of a jump scare for a jump scare that didn't happen. And in this scene, I'll go ahead and describe it, I guess, because I guess it's not exactly a spoiler. It's a scene where it's incredibly quiet, like there's not even music. You don't hear a single thing, and Mia is in a jail cell. And in this moment when she's in the cell, it's incredibly quiet. It feels very still. It feels like that is probably the most tense moment of the entire film. And the entire time, at least for me, I was anticipating another jump scare, but the jump scare never came. And I thought that was actually cool. I enjoyed that. I mean, there is still a jump scare in the scene, but it doesn't happen until she like leaves the cell. But in the cell, I was expecting one, then it never happened. All it did was build the tension for one, and then slowly, very slowly, the background music started to fade back in, and I was just like, okay, we're safe. We're safe. It didn't happen. He tricked me. I liked that. That was a good moment in the movie. Then there are a few like little things in the movie that I like, which I guess I'll just go ahead and list right now because they are just little things. Sometimes the atmosphere was all right. I liked the whole reflective eye effect that they were doing, and I liked Norma. That was my list of the things I liked in this movie. I also found that there were moments in watching the film, especially in the first like third of it where it's a mockumentary found footage thing. There were moments during that first portion of the film that felt exactly like watching a bad paranormal show or like a bad paranormal YouTube channel. I mean that kind of in a bad way. Because here's the thing, very frequently, very frequently, the camera would zoom in on something to show the audience something that's so creepy in the background. And I would be like leaning forward, kind of squinting, like, what am I supposed to be looking at? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at. There's like dramatic music. There's supposed to be something creepy in the background that we're zoomed in on. And I'm just like, what am I looking at? So it felt exactly like watching some kind of Discovery Channel paranormal BS show. Like 98% of the time when it did that, I needed the little red circle. I needed the little red circle or the little red arrow or the magnifying glass to show me specifically what I'm supposed to be looking at. There were so many moments in this where I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. What am I looking for? What am I seeing? I don't get it. Now, I'll put a pin in that because when I watched the ARG, funnily enough, you can see the stuff better in the ARG than on the screen. I'll talk about that in a bit. But seriously, for the film, I felt like I needed the stupid red circle. I needed the stupid red circle so bad. Although, again, like I said, it's very possible that I'm coming into this as somebody who was not the target audience for Shelby Oaks. Like, so I'm just some bozo who wandered in and everyone gets it but me. Maybe that's the case, that's fine. But then again, you have to think, how many people who go to the cinema even know what an ARG is? If you do not know what an ARG is, it stands for alternate reality game, or sometimes also augmented reality game. I actually did my final portfolio in graduate school on ARGs, and I attempted to make one myself, and let me tell you, making an ARG is fucking hard. So like I do give a major props to everyone that is able to run a successful ARG. That shit's hard. I feel like even just the writing process for it was a little bit difficult for me when I was doing my portfolio. So like, mad respect to those that do ARGs. The ARG scene is wild. I'm getting off track. An ARG is an alternate or augmented reality game. What it's trying to do is, it's obvious that it's fiction. However, it will never admit that it's fiction. It wants to come across as a piece of reality. And it's a game because it often has a very interactive aspect to it where viewers or the audience or game players, they can collect clues, uncover clues, gain information. Sometimes they can even affect the way a story goes. There's a big, like, broad spectrum of the interactive nature of ARGs. I'm pretty sure it was the Halo one, which is, was it called I Love Bees? I was correct. It's called I Love Bees. It was promotion for Halo 2. And if I am remembering correctly, for this ARG, people had to be, it's fucking batshit, the things people do for an ARG. People had to figure out several different coordinates. Like, I don't know. It's like encoding numbers. I don't understand it. They had somehow were able to get like coordinates and times and dates. And basically what it was each of these coordinates were attached to a specific payphone in a specific city, and there were several of them all across the country. And what the players needed to do was make sure that there was somebody at every single one of those payphones at the specific date and specific time so that they could receive information to progress in the game further. That's fucking insane. And they did it. There was not a single phone call missed. If you don't know what an ARG is, I feel like that is probably one of the craziest examples of an ARG. So if you don't know what an ARG is, like it goes over such a broad spectrum of stuff. They are so cool. With that little detour of explaining what an ARG is and giving it an example of just how broad some of the interactive aspects of it can be, Stuckmann started Shelby Oaks, I think in 2021, as an ARG called the Paranormal Paranoids, which is the paranormal investigation crew that Riley Brennan is a part of. So it started as an ARG just about the paranormal group that she's in. I was not a participant in this ARG when it came out. I had never even heard of it until early this year, late last year, when all of the Where is Riley Brennan TikToks were, you know, placing ads, and it was telling you like, follow this TikTok account to receive more information at a specific date. And, you know, I recognized that as, oh, somebody starting an ARG. Apparently that was not the ARG. Apparently that was just like marketing for the film, because the ARG took place in 2021. 2021 was a crazy year for me, to say the least. And not only that, but I don't really use Twitter, and it seems like the mass majority of the ARG was taking place on Twitter. So that's why I had not heard of it until now. However, when the TikToks advertising it and saying like, oh, follow for more information on this date. Like I said, at the time, I thought it was just like a new up-and-coming ARG, and I thought about following it, but in the end, I decided not to. And can I tell you why? It's because it felt basic. Even at that point, it felt a little bit basic and not interesting to me, because it didn't feel like it was really promising anything new. It was like, oh, found footage, paranormal, missing person. How many ARGs like that exist? You know what I mean? So like the TikToks themselves didn't draw me in. But just from that, I was just like, this is basic. It's basic, it's bare bones, nothing is really hooking me. I figured, you know what, if it's really that good, I'll probably eventually just hear like Wendigoon talk about it, or even Nightmind. Which, by the way, Nightmind does have a cameo in the Shelby Oaks film, which I thought was really cool. I watched that guy! And actually, Nightmind is who I watched to understand the ARG. And can I just say, that ARG was good. That ARG was good. I do not blame people for being really excited for Shelby Oaks, because the ARG was good. What sucks is that Shelby Oaks is far from the ARG. To me, after watching Nightmind's video explaining the ARG's narrative, it just almost feels like they're two different stories to me. Like they're two different narratives. They don't really feel related to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I found. I was just like, these feel like two different narratives. And maybe I feel like that because they are told in two completely different formats. Paranormal Paranoids is formatted as an ARG, so it's really interactive, and it has a lot of ARG elements to it that make it really cool. And especially like from an internet standpoint, like there's a lot more you can do with horror on the internet than what you can in Hollywood. And I feel like that was a lot of the draw to Shelby Oaks, was the not Shelby Oaks, but how it started, Paranormal Paranoids. I feel like that was probably part of the draw, was the found footage ARG aspect. And can I say, even though I was just watching a guy talk about it and show some clips, I actually felt pretty creeped out by the ARG. I'm not gonna lie. There were moments in the ARG clips that he was showing that we also see in the movie, but watching it from the ARG perspective, it creeps me out way more.
Chill. Where did that come? I don't know.
And take that pin out of me not being able to see anything that's zoomed in on, because when you're watching it on YouTube, I don't have any trouble seeing the creepy thing in the background. You would think that like in a theater where the screen is way bigger than my computer screen, that it would be obvious what I'm looking at, but for some reason I could never, I was like, what the fuck are you zooming in on? What am I supposed to be looking at? But looking at the found footage clips on YouTube, it is a lot easier to see the creepy thing in the background. And so again, more successful at being creepy because I can actually see what the creepy thing is. I feel like did I skip over talking? So I think I did. My apologies. My thoughts are everywhere on this one. Where the ARG, it does have that fun interactive ARG aspect and the found footage aspect and the whole like uploading to YouTube thing and interacting through social media. And I think that was a big draw to it. And what is so kind of disappointing, I suppose, about Shelby Oaks is that it doesn't carry that same tone of the ARG at all. It is like a very standard Hollywood paranormal thriller. Like, it's nothing like the ARG. The ARG is focused around Riley and Riley going missing and one of her former fans like wondering what happened to her and uploading all of this former content that she had saved from when the channel had first started, I guess. And so it's very focused on Riley and the film is very focused on Mia. And I think that would be fine if, man, how do I word this? If Mia was like really doing something, I don't know. It felt like for so much of the movie, we were just floating around randomly from space to space and making conspiracy theories about maybe what's happening. And the ARG it does genuinely seem good and creepy and very well done. But a lot of what drew people in for the ARG, I think from my perspective, is the found footage and ARG aspect of it. And so it's really weird to go on to make a film based off an ARG, and it's not any of that. In fact, it's like any A24 picture that you could watch, you know? It completely loses the initial tone that I think drew people into the narrative in the first place. And from my perspective, I don't know why the whole found footage thing was scrapped. From the way it happens, like, things kick off because of a shocking event, which the trailer shows you, by the way. No secrets there, but I guess I'm still not gonna say it. It starts because of this shocking event, and the shocking event happens while Mia is being interviewed by a documentary team. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't the girl that she's talking to Jess, who is the person who did the Twitter account for the ARG? Am I wrong on that? Let me look. But I remember hearing the name Jess in the movie. Okay, Jess is in the movie. Is she who I think she is? I don't know. It's in theaters. I could only see it once. That face does not look familiar. That does not look like the reporter. I think Jess might be who is interviewing Mia when the shocking event happens. And so you already got a journalist. You already have a camera crew. You think they don't want in on that action? Somebody who is also curious where this missing person is? You could have continued to make the film a found footage because that documentary team is already there, and I didn't make the film, so I don't know what specifics maybe would have led him to decide to scrap the whole found footage mockumentary thing. But to me, I feel like it still could have been possible to carry that tone over from the ARG so that they at least feel cohesive with one another. I feel like I really fumbled up trying to finish up this thought. So really quick, I think it's possible he could have been going for the movie having a different tone than the ARG. Perhaps that's something that he thought would be like a cool or a nice effect to the narrative. But I don't know. For me, it just makes it feel like two completely different narratives, and I feel like it would have been really interesting to continue the found footage tone like the ARG had, but following Mia's investigation, like having the same tone as the ARG, but the focus still being on Mia investigating Riley's disappearance. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, and just finally, I have a few rambles, I have a few rants that I would like to share with you guys. They're just like some of my thoughts, my questions that all have to do with spoilers. So this is going to be a spoiler section. Please, if you do not want to be spoilered, either go to this timestamp or just go ahead and skip to the conclusion. But I want to include this section because I want to understand the specifics of what's happening. When you get into the specifics of the narrative, it just feels like a very confusing mess. And I want to put the spoiler section out there because I want to be able to freely share what I think is happening and then get feedback from you guys who have also seen it on, am I right about things? Am I wrong about things? What things need to be corrected? I will say I feel like this is a movie where I could have benefited from watching it more than once, but I can't. I think I really would have benefited. Maybe I would have been a little bit less confused on the specifics. But as it stands right now, only watching it the one time, I need help. And this is my cry for help. Okay, so Wilson confused me. Just like Wilson's entire existence confused me. It felt like they kept changing what he was. It felt like every time they were talking about him, they were changing what his character's purpose was. It's like 1 second he's a manifestation of Riley's nightmares. The other second, it's just like he's an Antichrist baby. The other second, I don't know, he was like born. The demon wanted him to be born so he could like possess him. And then eventually somewhere kidnap Riley. And then like other moments he's like a stalker. I don't know. I'm struggling so bad to understand Wilson's purpose. What is Wilson? I get it. I think he is at least for sure an Antichrist baby. I don't know. Okay, they make it seem like the relation between Wilson and Riley are Riley's nightmares, right? That he is like a manifestation of her nightmares. And then it's like, oh, he's stalking you. He's outside of your window. No, he's not outside of my window. The demon is. The actual literal physical demon. We can see the demon. We can see it as the demon and not Wilson, right? And so he's like linked to her because of her nightmares. And then when he goes to prison, her nightmares stop and the demon is gone. But we also already know that like the demon can exist outside of Wilson. So here's a big question that has been annoying me since I've been writing this because I realized how ridiculous it really is. Why would Wilson going to prison stop her nightmares? So he's just an Antichrist baby that maybe sometimes the demon controls. It's proven that the demon can exist outside of Wilson. Wilson himself is not the demon. When he goes to prison, her nightmares stop and she stops seeing the demon. Here's my question. Are demons just abiding by our justice system? Why is a prison stopping a demon from giving somebody nightmares and like looking through their window? I really realized it while writing it, and the more I think about it, the more ridiculous it feels. Why is a building keeping a demon from tormenting somebody? I'm confused. I'm just confused. I assume that throughout his life, Wilson has gone into buildings before and the buildings have not stopped the demon from tormenting Riley. So why would a prison stop a demon from tormenting Riley? Again, are the demons abiding by our justice system, and for what reason? I don't understand how the prison is stopping her from having nightmares, but okay. Unless Wilson is literally stalking her, which they clarify, no, he's not stalking her, it is the demon. Okay, dude, I don't know. My head hurts really bad. And it's like they clarified that he's not stalking her, but then like he also has pictures of her and knows about like the initial thing on the trees. I don't know. And now the specifics of the narrative, which I'm so confused about, and this is also mostly what I need your guys' help with. All of you that have also seen this who maybe have a better understanding of what the hell is happening with these specifics here, please help me. I'm begging you. Maybe I'm just slow, but I feel like I could have benefited from watching this more than once. I unfortunately can't. I'm not spending like, what, probably $30 or $40 of movie tickets to, okay, to the best of my current ability, this is what I understand is happening in Shelby Oaks. Riley has a demon attached to her who has followed her since birth. She has premonition-like nightmares, and the only reason I figured out that part of it was from the ARG and Nightmind stating how she's psychic, that they're premonition dreams. I got that from the ARG, not from the film. She has premonition-like nightmares which manifest as this guy, Wilson, who the demon can control. Oh, and also there's like a demonic call. It feels like there's a lot of stuff happening. I don't know. For some reason, physical prisons can keep demons at bay. That's crazy. Riley is fine until Wilson gets out of prison and her nightmare starts again. And after a while, like maybe, I think it's like a few weeks, he kidnaps her. He is possessed by a demon, but also a member of a demonic cult. And we don't expect any information about that demonic cult. We don't get anything. It's just to make it feel like Midsummer or Hereditary, I think. And like I said, I think, okay, so he's possessed by a demon, was born into a demonic cult, and is also an Antichrist baby. Riley is meant to birth the next Antichrist baby, so Wilson her for the entire 12 years that she is missing, and every baby that they have ends up dying. It's unconclusive. Is it like a miscarriage? Was it unsuccessful? Or is Riley killing the babies? We don't know. And all of them have died until the most recent one, which is the one that Mia finds. And I don't know. The demon's goal was to get Riley pregnant and for Mia to raise the baby. Because then at the end it's like implied that the demon is also possessing and controlling Mia?
Help me! Help me!
Oh, and he chose the sisters? Just because. I don't know why these sisters were chosen. I don't know why Riley specifically needs to give birth to the baby. I don't know why it was part of the plan that Mia is the one to raise it. I don't know what Wilson has to do with anything besides just being a mode for the demon to act out on humans? Is that it? Why is the prison keeping a demon at bay? I'm so confused. Sorry, I'm behind bars. I can't give you nightmares and look in your window anymore. Whoopsies. You got me, criminal justice system. Oopsies. Anyway, how would I do? Is that it? Did I get it? Is there something that's not clicking, that I'm not understanding? That is, to the best of my ability, the specifics of the narrative. If I am correct, and that is what it is, I'm just tired of talking about this movie. I feel like the more I think about this movie and the more I talk about it, the more aggravated and exhausted I feel. I am confused. Still so confused. But finally, to kind of wrap this up, oh God, do I desperately need to rant about this, because it drove me crazy. It drove me crazy the entire duration of the film. This is a detail that drove me crazy the entire duration of the film, because I was sitting there the entire time thinking about it, wondering when it's gonna show up, when, hey, are we gonna acknowledge that he said this? Only for it not to. Nobody acknowledges it, and I guess it's fine. And I am pretty sure It's literally the only line that Wilson has in the entire film, which is, "She finally let me go."
She finally let me go.
She finally let me go. And then I thought of that line. I thought of him saying, "She finally let me go," before the entire movie. The entire movie. I'm like, they planted the seed. When is it gonna come into play? And it never did. And it never did. Okay, I forgot to cover this when I was recording. I get that by saying "she finally let me go," he's probably talking about his mom, right? Norma. Let me tell you how it still doesn't make any sense, though. Okay, he is the Antichrist baby. We have seen no proof throughout the entire duration of the film that he is a victim of this demon. For everything that we know, he is like the epitome of evil. He is an Antichrist baby. So, if his mom finally let him go, it just still doesn't make any sense, because he's in it. He was born into it. We see no signs of him, like, suffering, that this is his life, that, you know, like, even understanding that by she, he probably means his mother, it just still doesn't make any sense to me. He's an Antichrist baby. All of the pictures that we see of him, he's, like, smiling. I don't know. That single line has driven me so crazy. It's driven me so mad, because it still doesn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense. In fact, Mia never even acknowledges that he says this. She doesn't wonder about it. She never repeats it. She just never acknowledges that he said something pretty ominous before killing. She doesn't care. He says something ominous before killing, and it never gets brought back up. And it planted a seed for me. It planted a big seed for me, because I was like, she? What do you mean she? That had me intrigued. I'm like, what do you mean she finally let you go? And let me tell you what both me and my father both thought this upon hearing that line. We both acknowledged the existence of this line. The seed was planted within us both, and we were both thinking about it for the movie. And this is what we thought it was going to be. We thought that from "she finally let me go," we thought there was going to be like a reveal or some kind of twist that Riley is possessed by the demon, that Riley is the antagonist, that Riley is missing because she is the demon. And let me tell you, that would have been a lot cooler than what the ending actually is. That could have been so cool. That could have been such a cool little twist. Maybe some people could have predicted that. Fine. I would have rather the twist been that Riley is the one possessed by a demon, and, you know, he was the victim, not her, but him. You know, that could have been fun, right? Too bad that's not what happens. Too bad nobody even acknowledges the fact that this man said "she finally let me go" before just, it would have been a way better ending than what actually happened. And speaking of the end, can I just say, what like pure shock value bullshit is that? What just like pure boring shock value, just trying to find the most disturbing possible thing. Why do we always need to be resorting to as a means to try and shock and disturb our audience? You can do it without resorting to the female lead being just... And doing that just reminded me of all the very, very poorly written and just bad, disturbing cinema that I've seen. Just like, because it's shocking. Okay. It feels like pure shock value to turn Riley's, like, the whole answer about this, where she's been, is that she's been a baby machine. Really? Like, really? It would have been so much cooler if she was the demon. And I know there are a lot of people who are also immensely disappointed by the ending. But here's the thing. I keep seeing people disappointed by the ending, and I don't know which part of the ending they are disappointed by. If they are disappointed by the fact that at the end of it all, Riley just ends up dying anyway, or are they also upset over what I'm upset over, which is that her character is she just got a bunch and was expected to give birth to a Satan baby. Okay, just shock value. Again, unoriginal. Very, very unoriginal. It feels like a cop-out almost. Like, oh, what's happened to Riley this whole time? She's been getting for 12 years. Why couldn't she have been the demon? Overall, I really am not trying to be a hater. Like I said, there are some very little elements of it that I like. And again, it's not bad. It's not a bad movie. I have seen like some dog shit movies. You know, like it's not as bad as like Gutterballs. I've seen trash movies. This is not a bad movie. I just genuinely don't think there's anything new or interesting or different happening in it to warrant it being memorable for me in the long run. Like it really does kind of just feel like a copy of several other movies. The ending is like shock value-y and disappointing and just like, you know, it's like whatever, bro. I don't even care anymore. I don't even know if I cared to begin with, but whatever. It instead just feels like I said, a rehashed story combining like 4, maybe 5 other horror movies. Again, it's not bad. It's just boring and it's basic and it doesn't really do anything to stand out. And there are some parts of it that I find really like frustratingly confusing. And as I said, I think over time, for me at least, I see this as being extremely forgettable. There's no moment in it that's very unique or memorable of itself. Yeah, I don't know. It was a movie. And I think it sucks because, as I said, the ARG did seem pretty cool. The ARG did creep me out in moments, and the ARG did seem very intriguing. And I can see how so many people were drawn in from the ARG. But the film does not feel like a continuation of the ARG. It feels like a completely different narrative. It just feels like a completely different movie. It has a completely different tone to it than the ARG. It has a different kind of a different narrative that's happening too. And yeah, I don't know. If I had to recommend one of the two for you to watch, I would probably just recommend the ARG. I can see how there were so many people hyped for this movie. I can see why it got the hype that it did. Unfortunately, yeah, I think that's like the main thing. The movie does not feel like a continuation of the ARG. The movie feels like something else, just like completely different. And also like it is awkward and confusing at moments, and it's not scary. It's not scary at all. Like the jump scares, it does not have good jump scares. It follows just about every cliche paranormal trope that's out there as well. So if you like cliche paranormal stuff, then this could be right up your alley. Like I said, it's possible I'm just not the target audience for this, and that's fine. Now, what rating am I going to be giving Shelby Oaks? It was really mid. I like really it is really the definition of like a mid movie. And so for that, I'm going to put it at the C tier, which I feel like isn't too bad. It could have been worse. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just like not special, I guess. There's nothing special happening in it. It's just like perfectly mid, fine. Yep, that was a paranormal movie where a person's missing. This is typically the reason that I don't cover or keep up with new horror movies, is because it hardly is ever even worth it. Even all of the like campaigning with this movie, calling it like the next scariest film and blah 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 blah. As soon as a trailer or an advertisement calls a scary movie the scariest film, the scariest film out there, I'm immediately tuned out. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it then, because that just tells me that it's dog shit. And I almost do feel like it would be better if it was just bad. You know, bad movies still have memorable moments, and this doesn't have anything. It just is. You know, I almost wonder if that is worse than it being bad. But I'm really more than ready to stop talking about this. I thought this was going to be a short video, but apparently it's not. So with that, we are done with this week's movie review. Don't ask me to review any more new cinema. Except I am probably going to review Five Nights at Freddy's too. I hope that you have enjoyed this movie review. If you liked it, please make sure you stab that like button. It is a free and easy way to help support this channel, and I appreciate it so much. And if you have a horror movie that you like a lot and you would like to see it covered on the channel, or you'd like to hear my opinions on it, please put it in the comments down below and maybe you'll see it show up in a future video. Also, if you just like this little rambly video so much that you want to hear me ramble about more disturbing cinema, bad cinema, B movies, the main thing is I cover horror. I don't always cover new horror, as I said. Instead, I like to dig for the little hidden gems that are on Tubi. All the like B movies, low budget things that are made with a lot of heart. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you can be notified every time I make a new upload. And new uploads are every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the screen as well are my social medias, if you would like to follow me on there. And just one final thank you so much if you made it all the way until the very end. Our time here is precious, and the fact that you have used your time to listen to me ramble about a movie that I could only watch once and feel like I understand, but also am very confused and don't understand. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using your time to watch this video and to listen to me, and I appreciate you and your time. Just thank you again so much. If I do not see you in any posts, then I will see you in the next video, but until then, please have a great night and stay safe out there.